Hey guys, it's me Danielle with Kingdom First Ministries. How are you? I hope that you're doing great. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hey. Okay guys, so it's Tuesday. I hope everyone's doing well. This is video subject person number 2 and in the court prep series, and we are now talking about Bradley Stephen Barclay. Date of birth 5/27/59. Yeah, that's my ex-husband. Okay, so he's my second husband. I've been married twice. First time to a person named Miles Rieger, and I'll talk about him next time. But this is about Brad. And I met Brad, sheesh, I think it was like 1999? Something right around there. Yeah. So one of my best friends at the time, her name is Brenda. I forget her last name. And she had actually dated Brad. And, we were just two single parents, and we were just friends. Our daughters, her daughter's name was Allie. Mine was Danica, may she rest in peace. And so because our daughters made friends, then we became friends, right? And I had a great time with Brenda. She was great. But she was a little off. And so, anyways, she introduced me to Brad. She's like, I have this guy for you. I think that he's going to be really great for you, and I think you'll really like him. I dated him, but it's just not a love connection. So she introduced me to Brad. And I remember us wanting to keep it a secret from his next door neighbors, the Martells. And I don't even remember their names. Jerry Martell and his ex-wife, I forget her name. It's amazing how you can block people out, right? Anyway, so he didn't want anyone to know what was going on. We wanted to keep it a secret. So I remember meeting him over there by his house. This was in the San Fernando Valley in Southern California, in Tarzana, California. And we had a great, first date, and he brought me a red rose. But before that, what was really interesting was at the New Year's Eve party, where it was Brenda's. It was at Brenda's house. And Brad ended up showing up. He left the party in Beverly Hills to come back to the San Fernando Valley, or the Valley. Yes, I am a Val, I know. And anyway, yeah, it was time for the kiss, right? It was like 12 o'clock, and so we kissed. We were hanging out, we were dancing, we were having fun and stuff. And anyway, so we kissed. And his whole body started to shake. It's like his whole body started like vibrating, like, And I remember, I'll never forget it, And even when I asked him about it later, he said, "Oh no, that didn't happen," but it did. So, at the time, I was just divorced from Miles. My car had just gotten into an accident. It was not nice. And I was like, "Look, Brad, I'm not in a position to present myself to you or anyone right now. So, maybe we shouldn't do this." And he was like, "No, I've never met anyone like you. I really just, I want to get to know you better," and all of this, right? So we ended up dating, and we had our first date that one night. We were trying to keep it a secret. He had a red rose for me, beautiful long stem, gorgeous rose. And we went out to dinner. And I remember him saying he was kind of sheepish in a way, he was just nervous. And I was like, what's your deal? He's like, "Well, I just don't know. There might be some people that I've dated in the past that might be here, and they didn't take it very well when I had to end things." And so he was ghosting people before ghosting was a thing, right? And in the Jewish community, it's like, what? So are you married? Are you single? I like you. You're cute. They're very, we are very, we'll let you know type of a thing, right? That's how I am. So being half Jewish, it's like, if I like you, I'm going to say, "Hey, I like you. I like you." And people get a little shy, even as grown-ups. And it's like, "I like you too," Those 3 words, right? So anyway, We just had a whirlwind of a relationship. I remember I had my own place at the time, and my landlord was sneaking into my apartment. It was really creepy. And then Brad was like, "Why don't you just move in with me?" And so my daughter Danica at the time was 9 years old, and we did. We moved in, and it was great. He owned his own house. And he was like, "Look, I don't want you to work anymore." I was working at Sony at the time, Sony Pictures Entertainment. It was so much fun. Um, I was working as a floater between the SPE building, the administrative building, and on set, and it was fun. I was working with, writers and directors and uh, you know, um, script supervisors, and I was also the one typing up all of the agreements and everything, all the contracts. Add another zero. I'd have like all the guys behind me, they'd be like, "Add this, take that out, hurry, you got to send it right now. Come on. So it's kind of stressful, but it was fun. And what was it? Mr. Bean. I think Mr. Bean was the last film that I had worked on. But anyway, that was way back in the day. So, anyways, let's see. So he's like, "I don't want you to work anymore." And I had just turned 30 when I first met him. So, anyway, we ended up living together for 5 years. His parents didn't like it. They were like, "Look, apples and oranges don't mix. You're not Jewish," because the fact that I'm, Mexican American, they looked at me as less than. They wanted someone very affluent for their son so that they could both have more powerful connections and such. But, I don't know. I think Brad was looking for a way out, away from his family, because they were so controlling. I mean, they were like reviewing resumes for his future girlfriend and all this, and just very enmeshed, just a very enmeshing type of a thing. And so I provided him with the freedom and the to be himself and to be himself with me and not have to be like the way his parents wanted him to be. So he had a sister named Susan Barclay, and she was a makeup artist in Encino, California, and we were close, but she was always kind of fake, just like their mom, Marilyn Barclay, another one, very fake. Didn't support our marriage, didn't help me with the kids. Neither of them did. And yet they always expected me to bring the kids over and spend every holiday with them. And like, we couldn't have our own holidays. They put so much pressure on our relationship on purpose. So Brad and I, we had a great first 5 years. I was cleaning the house. I was just, getting used to not working anymore. Danica was there. I was able to be there for her more. And it was good. But the day we got married, it's like, we got married in Santa Barbara, California. And I think it was like 2002. And it was like a hailstorm from it was like April or something. It was the major hailstorm, and I'm like, maybe we should turn back, because we had a caravan of people that were joining us. And he's like, no, we're going to do it. We're not going to let the devil win and all this. Yes, I introduced Brad to Jesus, Yeshua, Messiah. He ended up converting, and his parents just hated me. And then his sister followed in suit. And yeah, so I was just like a troublemaker to them and their family, right? I had no idea they were Freemasons and Eastern Stars. So his father had given Jack Barclay, may he rest in peace. I think he died 3 or 4 years ago. He was a Mason. And he had 40 years of service. His mother was an Eastern Star. I didn't know. I mean, Brad's mother. So I had no idea. And they wanted us to get into it, and we didn't do it. So anyway, I've done a video on that where it's like Order of the Eastern Stars. I went to a luncheon that they invited me to, and would you like to, join us for the next event? And I'm like, I don't know. And Danica was with me at the time. She's like, "Mommy, this is kind of weird." And I'm like, I know. And anyway, so yeah. So that was as soon as I said no, I was already on the list, right? The black list. So what else? Yeah, I just thought that they were good community service people that just wanted to help people. I didn't know that they were satanic. The 33rd degree, when you go high like that, it's satanic. Walt Disney, he was a 33rd degree Mason as well. Yeah. Anyway, so Brad and I got married in Santa Barbara, California, and I should have known. The Justice of the Peace didn't show up. We wanted to have a neutral wedding because he was Jewish and I was Christian, and the JP didn't show up. So then his cousin Michael Barclay, who's a rabbi in Los Angeles, California, he was in rabbinical school, and he ended up marrying us. And we're under the chuppah and everything. We broke the glass, and the whole thing. And so then we had to get married at the courthouse. So we got married 3 times actually. Once in the sight of God, and I had my family there. I had my sister Erica and Erin were both bridesmaids. Erica's daughter Zoe was my flower girl, and my mother was there, and she was one of my maids of honor. I mean, I included the whole family, and it was beautiful. Everyone was wearing pink, and it was gorgeous. I did I sewed up all those dresses, you guys. I went down to downtown LA to the fabric district. I bought a whole bunch of beautiful fabric, and then I actually sewed everyone's dresses. My bridesmaids did nothing for me. My cousin Jennifer was also, Jennifer Joy Frontino. She was one of my bridesmaids, and they didn't do anything for me. They were just like, meh, 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 like, what can you do for me kind of thing. So imagine being the bride, and you're doing everything. I'm the one who had to guide everyone on how to make the bouquets. I mean, we had to do everything ourselves, right? So we had a great wedding for about $5,000, and we had about 50 people in attendance in Santa Barbara, California, which was actually a really good deal. And I forget which hotel it was again, but it was named after one of the vineyards that are out there. So anyway, you guys, I swear I remember saying, maybe we should go back. I wish that we had turned back. I wish I had never married this man. It was a big mistake. So we got married. We didn't even have a honeymoon or anything like that. It was just, it was 2 days at the hotel there in Santa Barbara, and that was it. It was just not what I had hoped for. But anyway, I had a gorgeous dress, and, everything looked great. So then we got into married life, and I remember overhearing his father, Jack, at the time saying, okay, so you guys got married 3 times. Make sure that you're not giving her gifts every single anniversary, because she might just want too much and this and that. So he would listen to his father. And if we celebrated one of them, it was April 26th was the first one. And anyway, so we never had a honeymoon. We never had the follow-up honeymoon that he promised. He gave me a lab-created ring, which later on he replaced. And I gave birth to Skylar, who was the firstborn for him and his family. His sister never got married or anything like that. And she did get married, but she just didn't have any kids. So I gave the family some children, some grandchildren. Speaking of which, they're here. I'm in the playground. So hi. Anyway, so I gave their family. I gave them children, and gorgeous children, and they just didn't. They just took it all for granted, So anyway, guys, we've got about maybe 20 little kids around here. I don't know. They're between 5 and 8. I love children. Anyway, we went to some parties. His parents were Beverly Hills socialites, and so they would pretend to be rich, but they weren't. Went to a billionaire's party once, and it was fun. They had professional photographers there. They used to hang out with Donald Trump when Donald was still a Democrat back in the day. And so everybody knew each other and everything, but his mother made sure that I could never tap into her network. I was trying to do Mary Kay or something, and she was just oh no, do you have retinol in your products? She was such a bitch. I pray that she's already passed on, because she was just evil, manipulative and weird, weird incest kind of stuff. So incesty kind of stuff, right? I might have to get up and move in a minute, but yeah. So okay. So then our youngest daughter, Mackenzie, had gotten, AKA Miko. She's non-binary. Um, and I blame Skylar for that influence that she put onto her little sister to have a boyfriend too soon. And, I think Skylar was very jealous of Mackenzie because she had a closer relationship with her father than Skylar did. It's just, the whole thing is convoluted, you guys. But anyways, Brad, back to Brad. I loved Brad, okay? I really did. I was so in love with him. And I was very faithful to him. We were together for 22 years, and I did not cheat on him. I did not. And, the sex wasn't that great. I mean, it was like always the same position. It was, he had to be on bottom, and he wanted me to be on top, and he would have his eyes closed. And I was like, what are you doing with your eyes closed? It's like, don't you desire me? Like, aren't you into me? Like the eye contact, like the emotional connection, anyone, And he was like, oh, I just don't want to lose my erection. I'm like, then get some help. Well, it hurts my stomach. It was always some excuse. So I don't know. The last 6 years of our relationship was like, we had no sex. We had no romance. There were no date nights. There were no secret getaways. There was not a pat on the butt. An occasional, peck on the lips, but nothing to write home about, So I was becoming very lonely. And, I thought about cheating at around those days, towards the end, because I was so lonely. And I would look online and I'd say, ooh, what's this? But I never did. So, I gave away all my power to Brad. They came from a very traditional family. The men took care of everything, took care of the money, took care of the phones, took care of the computers and all of that, And Brad was a business entertainment manager for Goodvie, Chaplik, and Oppenheimer, which is different. The name has changed now, and that was in Sherman Oaks, California. So we met through my friend Brenda, and we were both in the same industry. We both were in business entertainment management. So we had that in common as well. And it's just sad, you guys. It just started off great, but as soon as we got married, everything changed. And, I was just doing the mom thing. I was very happy being a mother, but I had no help. No help from my mother, no help from his. They would throw money at us, but they wouldn't. It's not like we could hire a nanny. We were house poor. We looked great from the outside looking in. And it was so stressful to make sure that nobody knew that we were actually poor. So we moved a lot, after we sold the house. And that's the one thing I will always thank Brad for, is that he sold his house in Tarzana, California to help pay for my daughter Danica's therapy for her rehab in Montana. So we spent like $180,000, close to $200,000 on her therapy for a year. And the flights back and forth and, hotel accommodations and everything. And Skylar was just like a toddler at that time, like a year old. And so anyways, that's the one thing he did I'll never forget, ever. And, back then it was such a shameful thing to have your child who was a drug addict at the time. And it wasn't even Danica's fault. I mean, it was her best friend who got her into it at a very young age. It was like 7th, 8th grade. Like, let's stay skinny and let's stay A students, let's do this. Yeah. So that was hell. But I don't know, you guys. I think he started getting andropause. I don't know if you are familiar with that. It's kind of like how women have menopause. Men have this thing called andropause. And if you're not taking your vitamins, if you're not working out, if you're not like, eating lots of protein and you turn into a skinny old man with baggy clothes if you don't. Basically, your testosterone level goes down and you become a skinny old man. Like, I've seen them. I'm sure you have too. And they keep wearing their same old clothes because they think it's like body dysmorphia, right? They think that they still fit in those clothes, but they don't. And this started happening to Brad. And I was like, look, I don't know what's going on. So he just like, no, was always in denial about everything like that. And so I just didn't feel attracted to him anymore. And since we were having sex the same way, same position, like I was just like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I feel like an object. Like there's no emotional connection here. Like I'm not going to be a mechanical thing going on, you know? So I stopped having sex with him. And it just got to the point where after the minivan, we had a really cool Toyota minivan, XLE, leather interior, fully loaded, just gorgeous for me and the kids. And I had given him $15,000 for my Uncle Tony's inheritance. Remember I told you about my Uncle Tony? He left me 40. I spent 20 on his funeral, and I think I shared like $5,000 worth, and then I saved 15, and I put it for the minivan. Well, Brad did other things with it, and I don't know what the hell he did to this day. So, you guys, it just became a real dysfunctional mess. Like, it was just not good. And I would go to him and I'd say, this is not working. What can we do to fix this? Oh, don't worry, it'll get better. It'll get better. You know, it'll get better. It'll get better. Hi. So, long story short, it never got better. So one day I asked him, I said, you know, I think I need to get away for a couple of